give Spirit Science some credit. He just said in about 4 minutes what it would take Jordan Peterson 3 hours to say, and he didn't blame the Jews once. You know, that's true. Let's find out if that pattern holds true in the conspiracy theory of everything video, the 90-minute long video that YouTube doesn't want you to see, because apparently he had to keep taking it down and editing it to get it on YouTube. So anyway, you guys have all been begging for this all day. This is the thing you never knew you wanted. Let's go.
He actually urged Dr.
What? All right. Warning. This documentary contains subject matter that may break an individual free from the Matrix. Opening the mind is advised. No, this isn't 4 hours long. It's 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. It's a feature-length documentary, boys.
Welcome to what may very well be one of the most important videos we've ever made. Now, in order to even begin this video, I must first establish this disclaimer. This video is a set of hypotheses, an exploration of the world, and while many ideas will be explored...
Man, it's great how the editing of random imagery matches the random mishmash of ideas we are about to encounter. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
What we are sharing here is not meant to be taken as
it said it was edited from 4 hours long? Oh my god.
Definitive truth. We're not claiming this is entirely made up of facts. Rather, we are attempting to explore a deeper...
We're not saying our documentary is plagued by things like facts and logic or reason. But we're exploring these concepts without those pesky things.
Perhaps darker area of human consciousness.
I know I'm being real pause champ right now.
To explore a deeper, perhaps darker.
But what the hell stock footage are you getting? Like what is this? I guess this is the deeper, darker side of humanity. Someone wearing what appears to be the anonymous mask if it had sex with, like, the Gorton's fisherman. Or the Pringles can. That is the darker side of humanity. Truly, the clown chakras have been opened.
Area of human consciousness, and see the bigger picture of what is really going on. Please have your own experience, do your own research, and don't be afraid to go deeper down the rabbit hole. For the truth is often stranger than fiction. There's no denying that the collective human consciousness is in quite of a pickle today. It is chaotic and overtaking itself and all of nature. Because of the internet, we have nearly real-time access to information. And yet, most people are only seeing a particular slice of the story. For example, the algorithms behind what you find when you use Google, Facebook, YouTube, and almost every other social network
20 seconds in, release the clowns!
Are designed to show you what you're already looking for.
Did I say the clown chakras? Why, yes, I did. We just watched a video about how you definitely shouldn't unlock your clown chakra.
Computer code thinks you want to see.
No, I do not want to do a book review.
Unless you're actively searching for new information, to find something different, or follow someone who is...
You mean to look something up? You need to know to look something up? That's crazy, dog. What a revolutionary idea you've discovered. You know, you're never going to encounter this idea if you aren't looking something new up. Yeah, of course not. No one's... My god, yeah, that's how research works.
Creating content that is going down rabbit holes and sharing what they find. What you get is generally what you're already accustomed to seeing. You only see what you want to see.
Thanks for restating the same idea 5 times in a row.
Further, due to the controversial nature of many ideas, especially those labeled as conspiracy theories, many ideas are not explored by the masses.
Yes, we've given up the scientific pursuit of anything labeled a conspiracy theory. Yep, you know, if we had just kept digging farther below the earth, we would have found the hollow earth, you know, if we just kept digging.
Because when they hear about it, they see that these ideas are ridiculed, and they write them off as nonsense or dangerous extremism.
Oh, the Illuminati,
Following
baby.
the herd mentality makes it easier to dismiss exploring new ideas, so people can easily go along with their lives. This is critical because the ability to change one's belief changes your experience of life, and most people
Did you know if you change your beliefs, you change the things you believe? Did you know that?
are happy just
Is this a documentary by the Spirit Science guy? Yep. It's his latest documentary.
letting things be as they are. A minority of people are compelled to seek higher truth at all cost, and certainly most of us know that sometimes it can be very hard to empathize with those who choose comfort over following their passions. As the saying goes, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And trying to convince others to think
And all y'all are horses, and I'm here to try and make you drink.
differently only leads to distress on everyone's part. As many ancient texts will suggest, this is not how true wisdom is passed on. This creates a sort of self-created deception and distraction from the bigger picture, which is rarely explored. If you're already familiar with spirit science, we've talked before about how everything is connected. This was even a fundamental part of my own awakening, where I had a transcendent experience that all things were one, unified and stemming from and linking to a singular greater whole. Yet today,
So this guy did like shrooms one time, and then just instantly fell into a cult. That's crazy. Yeah, when he opened up his horse chakra.
the struggle of human consciousness is that most people are not seeing it,
People
simply not
die
looking,
when they're
or
killed.
not even wanting to look. In modern science today, there are many scientists searching for an all-pervading theory of everything, something that unifies quantum mechanics and the theories of relativity. And so today, we respectfully present to you the conspiracy theory of everything.
Yeah. So what does the conspiracy theory of everything have to do with what you were just talking about? Unifying different scientific theories.
I invite you to watch this with the intention of self-reflection, for as is the nature of consciousness itself, pointing the finger and blaming others only creates more of the same cycle that we've been trapped in. Liberating ourselves from the illusion is the only way to really break free of the shackles that bind us to our lower state of being.
Yeah, little did you know, when you were born, all of you signed up for a BDSM class, and now you are all shackled, and he's the only one who can free you. Apparently. Oh man. Okay, we're starting right off the bat with aliens. Okay. Lizard people, aliens, scary music, fractals, fractals. My, this all seems important. It'd be a shame if it was just random conspiracy related imagery with no purpose in the film.
Our conspiracy theory of everything begins first with the demiurge. The demiurge is an ancient Greek and Gnostic concept describing a consciousness that is considered to essentially be the creator of the physical universe, but not the supreme creative force
Is that the
behind
time
all
cube?
things.
I hope he brings up time cubes. I hope he does. I miss them.
A good way to explore this idea is through The Matrix, a science fiction story that suggests everything we think we know of as the real world is nothing but an illusion, a false world within which most are imprisoned, unable to effectively identify what is real. As people go about their day-to-day lives, they think that their world is authentic, but that every individual is truly plugged into an artificial reality.
It's the Matrix, you see. Red pill, blue pill, am I right?
Severed from the real world. While people suffer, there is a tremendous benefit to the ruling overlords, who in the film were a form of AI. As it relates to us, this AI is in essence the Demiurge.
What the fuck
The
are you
Demiurge was
talking
described
about,
as a
dude?
force, a deity, or a consciousness who was responsible for the creation of the physical world and reality. However, in a way, it had imposed itself over top of the true reality, the supreme oneness
The real truth is that we are all actually bald.
that created all things. In this, it was a false god who had assumed authority over the world, masking the living beings, namely us, from the supreme truth, the highest order of creation, and making us believe that what we experienced as real, the physical reality that we are a part of, was the true, authentic reality, even though it wasn't. Depending on the school and belief of different Gnostic sects, the Demiurge was
Teehee.
either seen as something malevolent, deliberately trying to deceive us, or something that was simply ignorant or misguided of its place in the universe and the rest of creation, which led to us becoming lost in the illusion.
Yeah, honestly, they should have shown stuff like this as anti-drug PSAs, okay? Anti-drug PSAs made drugs look cool, and only really made people do more drugs. I feel like if people were shown that this is what you're gonna get into as a result of drugs, like, a lot fewer people would take them. Mostly because this makes drug use seem very not cool.
As a result. Said in simple terms, the Demiurge was the force behind the physical universe, but within our consciousness, so long as we perceived that which is physical to be real, we were slaves to the illusion of the false or at least incomplete reality. To that end, these ancient people, at least those who were part of the ancient mystery schools, believed that the physical reality was an illusion. They sought to liberate themselves from the illusion of reality through
Just pro tip, this isn't like what actual bodies look like on the inside. Just in case you were freaking out about that.
varying spiritual practices, from meditation to plant medicine ceremonies and everything in between, in order to connect with higher realms of existence and break free of the false world by finding the truth, the supreme oneness within. This is because even the Demiurge and the physical universe still stemmed from the supreme oneness, and the light of truth could be found within. Known to the
Pro tip, everybody. If you are ever like just go, you're looking into something, you're watching a YouTube video or something, and it's on autoplay and it goes into something and it starts talking like this without any like specifics, without really any citations, with weird nebulous language, there's like a good 80 to 90% chance that video is trying to sucker you into like a multi-level marketing scheme or a cult, or is like just like blatant fascist propaganda. Like it's like one of those three, frankly.
Gnostics as Sophia, meaning wisdom in Greek. It was the act of awakening this divine spark within us that would return us to the higher realms, which became the ultimate goal of many Gnostic schools. This is where we find the roots of enlightenment and light concepts from around the world, which teach that within this world of suffering, we can release ourselves from the illusion through various forms of mastery and self-discipline, both physical, emotional, and mental. This, of course, takes considerable effort and intention to do so. In essence, transcendent people do what is hard, and that's why their lives are easy. People in suffering do what is easy, and that's why their lives are hard. Fast forward to today.
Like you guys can understand how if you're willing, like if you're able to fall for platitudes like this, you can also fall for platitudes like strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times create hard men. You know, like that's an equally vapid platitude that like could have been plugged in right here, you know? It's why this type of like spiritual gobbledygook is essentially a fantastic inroad into like fascist ideas. You know, it's why the like new age spiritual movement has like mainlined a bunch of like wine moms into becoming like crazy QAnoners, you know?
There is a tremendous volume of voices from across the internet, exploring ideas, concepts, and sharing a metric buttload of memes. But amidst the voices of the masses, we find
Good night,
a new
Ashley.
concept
Get good sleep.
emerging and being discussed in scientific and even some mainstream circles. An idea that proposes that the entire universe as we know of is actually a hologram or a simulation.
Of course. Of course, yep, the universe is a simulation.
Of some kind. Scientifically speaking, if we look at the cosmos from the perspective of quantum mechanics, there is a general acknowledgement that we really don't understand the universe like we thought we did. We are seeing the building blocks of the universe, the subatomic particles, the waves, behaving in ways that do not make sense in the context of classical mechanics, which revealed discrepancies in the laws of physics. Yet, the laws of physics still stand and apply in a practical sense when talking about our macroscopic world. But the fabric of the reality that we live in operates by rules that we have yet to uncover. The holographic universe seems in principle to be very much like how you might expect a movie and a projector to work in tandem. When you watch a movie, you enjoy it linearly, going through it one frame at a time, usually at 24, 30, or 60 frames per second. The stories on the screen follow a narrative of some kind, and generally speaking, there are definite laws that make up the universe you are experiencing in the film.
This feels so dumb. Like it's so dumb that I like don't have like an explicit argument against this. It's mostly just like you think so little of your audience that you have to walk them through how a movie works as they're watching your movie.
Yet, the quantum world, on the other hand, is like being able to observe the entire roll of film timelessly at any point, which includes...
You can't observe the quantum world. With your day-to-day life, you aren't observing the quantum world. I don't care what level of multi-reality you're operating on here, bucko. Quantum Mania is a fiction film.
Includes zooming in on individual frames, playing things backwards, forwards, the sequels and prequels all at the same time. The particles and waves that make up our reality are non-linear and could potentially imply notions of retrocausality. And while they too follow their own set of laws, they are different from the world we exist in at a macro level. Another example of this is found in computer code. What you are seeing on your computer or phone screen at any given time is a filtered projection of what is really going on underneath the surface, designed...
You see, underneath the surface, there are all these ones and zeros dictating what you do and do not do. So really, you're operating in a binary world. You just don't know it. You just don't know because it's hidden behind the projection of the world.
Designed to be easy for you to interpret. Yet, under the surface of these machines, there is a computer language that is incomprehensible to nearly everyone. Languages like binary and machine code are too simple to make complex algorithms effectively in.
What? I'm paying attention to him and my brain hurts and I feel angry. Yeah. They make when they're coding computers, coding language is then translated into like binary instructions. Like the algorithms are literally programmed in that language.
Instead, programmers use higher-level languages designed to be understood by humans to write code that is then translated into the lower, base-level machine code and then binary at the bottom.
But that means it is still written in at the base, it's machine code, which is stored in binary. Yeah, exactly.
You are seeing when you look at your phone or computer monitor ultimately comprises mountains of ones and zeros that lay under the surface of the digital world.
Yeah.
Just like what is under the surface of our own reality.
No.
You might be familiar with the ancient wisdom teaching, as above, so below. A concept that
led to the creation of a pretty good found footage horror movie and is actually one of my personal favorite found footage horror movies. It's a very comforting horror watch. I like it a lot. Otherwise, it's a reference to like alchemy and such. He's just reinventing the Matrix. Yeah, he basically introduced the idea of a Matrix, and now he's just going in circles around that. And introducing, like, more and more spiritual concepts to, like, reiterate his circular reasoning.
Applies on several levels, describing that which exists in higher realities is a mirror of lower ones. So as with
Smelony, it's a great movie. For those of you who are just kind of intrigued, the concept is an archaeologist goes looking for the Philosopher's Stone under like the streets of Rome, I think, and winds up like it gets creepy. You know, it's in like the tunnel system underneath Rome or something. The catacombs. There's creepy stuff down there. The catacombs of Paris. Thank you.
Machine code and binary. Ultimately, all of that computational code is equal to and actively creates the digital experience on your devices. But they are two entirely different paradigms. This is the great challenge of modern science today, unifying quantum mechanics and general relativity, because we are unable to comprehend yet how the physical world and tangible substance, continuity, gravity, life, time, and consciousness emerge from this flux field of quantum information.
What? No, we have a pretty good idea of all of that, honestly. We don't necessarily understand consciousness because it's an incredibly complicated phenomenon, but generally people understand it as an emergent phenomenon of, like, you know, evolutionary processes. It's, you know, we happen to luck out by being conscious. Or, you know, if you want to put a negative Nancy spin on it, you know, we really rolled a 1 out of 20 on our you know, on that one, and now we exist merely to be aware of our own suffering and everything sucks. But, you know, that's a matter of perspective.
which appears to operate by an entirely different set of laws related to statistics and probability. Yet, like with machine code and computers, are they really so different?
Yes. Yes. Coding language and quantum mechanics are very different.
The question then becomes, as many are theorizing today, could our entire reality be nothing more than a simulation? An artificial reality that our consciousness is plugged into? There are some oddities that have been captured on...
I mean, I just given what I know of like movie production and like YouTube video production, he absolutely is reading off of a script here, but like it's such nonsense.
on camera that some people believe are glitches in the Matrix. Now maybe these oddities are fake, who knows? But as an example,
They're not glitches in the Matrix. You just feel deja vu. It's not a glitch in the world hologram. You're just feeling you're feeling weird in your brain. That's not a glitch in the Matrix.
we do have this curious clip of a bird who is perched in midair without moving before flying away. There was also
Well, I mean, if that's your evidence, checkmate, I guess. No one could ever explain the random YouTube videos. No one could ever explain that. Checkmate, atheists.
this news footage from Russia several years ago that someone caught an...
How deep into this video have we gotten? We are 14 minutes into this video. It is an hour and 30 minutes. So yeah, we're almost 20% of the way through.
individual levitating on camera. But when the guy with the camera called out to them, the girl dropped down and ran away. Now again, I'm not trying to say this is hard evidence of a real-life Matrix, but it certainly compels curiosity.
And upon that evidence, we are going to base our entire next 80 minutes.
And this is what it's really all about. Humanity living in the question.
This was debunked to hell? Yeah, of course. Of course these videos were.
In the mystery of life. And these strange occurrences that beg us to ask the question, what is the true nature of reality? Now, on that note, I encourage you to please do your own research and go down these rabbit holes yourself.
Nah, he's not a credulous troll. He's a cult leader. Like, he's talking to his cult members right now.
And make up your own mind. In this way, you become a conduit of free thought, rather than following in the herd mentality of that which has been established for you by the powers that be and society at large. Even if the laws of physics as we know them today say that this is impossible, levitation or birds perched in midair, we also know that the laws of physics are incomplete. We don't even know how to properly fit gravity into our standard model of physics, and perhaps unlocking these secrets will change everything for us. And this brings us to our primary key, where we begin with our conspiracy theory of everything, the basis from which everything to come will build off of. The demiurge is, in essence, a lesson about the illusion of reality.
Man, I actually forgot that we were talking about a conspiracy theory of everything. I actually forgot that that was what he was talking about. What are the other conspiracy theories? I want to know. I do want to say, this is a weird way to structure your video. Usually what you'd want to do, right, is like, here are all of the conspiracy theories that we're blending together, blah, 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 blah. And then you go over each one by one, and then you tie them all together at the end. That would be, you know, to my, like, off the top of my head, the way you would want to organize a documentary video along these lines. But the fact that he's front loading it with all of this garbage is really telling.
That the entire world as we conceive it to be is based on what we perceive with our physical senses, which is a limited experience of the totality of that which exists in the whole universe. This idea suggests that the illusion of the cosmos.
Yeah, again, he's doing like the whole everything, you could just be a brain in a jar, Just like pulling out like some solipsism over here, just yeah, the only thing you can know for certain that exists is yourself. But use that certainty and now you just pretend everything else doesn't exist, you see?
Is incomplete, and as long as we believe in only it by itself, we too shall remain incomplete. We are living within a material universe, yes, but there is more to the cosmos than just that. And as long as we choose to believe in this limited reality, we will continue to perpetuate its existence. It is only—
No, Omega Star, you can't unlock the clown chakra. Okay, you're supposed to be busy unlocking your horse chakra so you can drink. God, all of you are getting so off track.
by embracing that which we don't know and asking the right questions can we break free of the fetters that bind us. In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, there is a great deal of discussion that describes the—
Oh, yeah, in case you just missed it, that was the first name drop of one of the primary deities that his cult believes in. Thoth the Atlantean. And that is Thoth from Egyptian mythology, but he's from Atlantis now.
human soul as a light trapped in the veil of the night, a metaphor suggesting that the night is the illusion of separateness, the soul disconnected from the supreme oneness, or simply trapped in illusions in general. Basically anything that is not the highest truth. It is the unilluminated mind that actively creates the reality that it perceives to be real, and as such, humanity lives out its days in the dark, veiled in the illusion of one's own beliefs, disconnected from any higher reality. This was portrayed excellently in Marvel's Doctor Strange, when Stephen denies anything beyond the material universe, and then is shown a glimpse of the multidimensional nature of reality, that thoughts are things. He is shown that all of us steer the reality field by our conscious intent.
Yeah, as we all know, Doctor Strange was a documentary film.
But yet, as we become complacent in the creation of our lives, we give up control of the driver's seat. But then the question is, who is driving the ship? Literally,
As you can see, Benedict Cumberbatch is indeed Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, and as such, he deserves your due reverence.
anyone and everything else. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, the collective mind field of—
Does he know Thanos was a utilitarian? Yeah, he needs to team up with Tim Pool.
everyone whose thoughts and feelings influence our own very decisions and actions by the concentration of their energetic weight. Whether it be the media, the news, advertisements, what your family or friends tell you, or things that you just happen across on the internet. Ultimately, all of it is processed by our egos, which shape who we think we are as we disconnect further from the nature of our being. So the question then becomes, what is the truth? What is the higher reality? And how do we connect with it? The ancient wisdom teachings describe that the quest for wisdom, or enlightenment, or the true nature of being, is a continuous journey into the unknown.
Oh, by the way, if in case you're wondering, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean are indeed a basis for this guy's like cultic beliefs. So, this is a book about the magical Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. written by Rebecca Marina Messenger. So, yeah, no, this is like ancient. Honestly, Gamergy, this is ancient aliens shit. If I'm being completely honest with you, like a lot of this cult is just ancient aliens, an ancient aliens knockoff of like Scientology, frankly.
And the illumination that we are active creators of our lives, not simply beholden unto the preconceived patterns that we've been following in.
Oh hey, this is the second time I've seen him use this this clip.
The great truth we must understand about the demiurge is that we are the ones who actively perpetuate its existence by believing in the physical universe as the ultimate reality. Your beliefs shape the reality that you experience, as Dr. Bruce Lipton has demonstrated through his work with the biology of belief. The beliefs and ideas that we hold in our minds can be scientifically proven to affect how our DNA and cells express themselves. If you believe you are a lowlife with nothing going on and will die alone and miserable, guess what kind of life you will lead? If you believe you can change the world, guess what kind of life you will lead? In order to break free of the limitations that we feel are imposed upon us, we must first believe.
Here comes the cult stuff. None of this has been cult stuff yet. I still have to say we haven't reached conspiracy yet. So far there hasn't been an explicit appeal to a conspiracy, merely just doing a lot of legwork to talk about this demiurge character, essentially.
Believe that it's possible to do so. We must open ourselves to a greater truth, a greater reality, one that is beyond the demiurge, and perceive a cosmic truth that forever changes life as we know it. Yet, humanity is not paying attention to messages like this in mass, and there is a reason for it. It is a very significant and critical thing, for this one piece of the puzzle must be resolved in order for humanity to truly advance as a species and break free of illusion collectively.
What is a demiurge? Let's see if I can give you like a more succinct demiurge is basically just a way fancier way of saying like creator deity. In Gnosticism specifically, like what he's talking about, the demiurge can at times be considered like a subordinate to like a one true deity situation, and is in his framing here, like antagonistic to life. So basically, in the universe that he's positing we live in, there's a demiurge that has power over all of physical reality that is positioned as antithetical to spiritual existence, and thus the demiurge seeks to lock you out of accessing your true spiritual self, right? That's essentially what he's trying to say it is in the world. There's really no evidence of that, obviously, and he didn't really provide any either.
But with that, the mysteries of who is
Wait, what? 20 minutes have been removed from this point? Gotcha.
behind all of this aside, how exactly do the world elite control human consciousness? Due to the sheer volume of control.
Ah, there we are, the world elite. Excellent. So we have a 20-minute cut, and already we're at the world elite phase. Gotcha. Hey, Charlie.
Mechanisms, here we're going to provide a lighter overview, and you are encouraged to explore these as you see fit. fear and scarcity. At the highest level of control, fear is one of the most easiest methods to control the population in mass.
One of the most easiest methods. If you wrote this out beforehand, you don't need to say most easiest. You would just say easiest. You can get rid of the word most, because the S at the end of easy is already doing the same lifting. That's just some friendly feedback from someone who has a degree in English literature. Appearances notwithstanding.
This is a two-way street that binds the influence from the elite and us together, for we actively perpetuate the problem when we live from fear and scarcity, spreading it around to each other like a nasty virus. Fear can be used to corral people in all manner of directions, to take actions that are not in their best interest, or to give up their power and control to others.
Okay, but this isn't a conspiracy theory. You're just talking about fear, something all humans experience, and scarcity, something that exists by the nature of existing in material reality.
Our food. For the most part, all of the food that we're eating today is toxic, designed to subdue our creative energy, making us easily addicted to things that are unhealthy for us. Whether it's processed foods, rich with salt, sugar, and
I forgot. He claims that if you eat like donuts, you go farther from God. Essentially, eating anything that's been processed or anything that's unnatural will bring you farther away from the divine reality. My God.
fat, or even our produce, which has been chemically engineered or sprayed with pesticides and herbicides. We can see this with Monsanto, who have actually patented seed and GMO production, disallowed the ancient practice of saving seeds, and ultimately controlled the food supply, but have masked it as providing the world food. We recently published a movie called Healing Your Body with Food, Spirit Science 33, which reveals the truth about food and where it comes from today. So we won't get super deep into it here, because there is a lot to cover. But if you want to go deeper into this, please watch that.
I know it's totally not, it doesn't have anything to do with what he's talking about, but she is not pulling off this fedora. I'm sorry. It's just not working for her.
That movie after this one is done. Ultimately though, the bottom line here appears to be
It's
that
okay,
we are
Chaotic
what
Kid.
we eat, and most of us eat far too much, and in that consume too many harmful substances. Fluoride in the water.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, the fluoride in the water that protects all of our teeth from just instantly crumbling to dust. Nah, is good. It's fine. This is, I will say, at least this is the first official conspiracy theory thing that has been listed. We're 22 minutes in. We're almost a third of the way through this.
Some have said that fluoride is the metaphorical tears of the New World Order, and that it's their most widely used weapon against us.
What?
The idea, in a nutshell, is that governments put fluoride in our water supply in order to negatively affect huge populations and facilitate mass control, whether for financial gain through the health defects that it causes, or for the purpose of disrupting our connection to the spiritual planes.
Ah, yes, fluoride. Anti-spirit substance there.
Any quick search of a fluoride conspiracy brings up notions that it calcifies the pineal gland, the organ.
Oh my god. Yo. They're combining it with, like, brain calcification. The idea that, like, parts of your brain get turned to rocks by eating certain substances. It's crazy, dog. We're making so many things cross right now. All the streams crossing right now. Amazing. There's now a 99% chance there will be something anti-Semitic in this video. I mean, you missed it. He already talked about the global elites coming together to control the world with fluoride in the water. You missed it. They already did the dog whistle.
Our brain that is often linked to consciousness and the third eye. The idea of the pineal gland being linked with consciousness originally came from the French philosopher Descartes, who
Yes. Philosophers. Famous for understanding brain function.
argued that the interaction between non-local consciousness and the physical world occurred inside of it.
It
If
calcifies
you
the
dig
third
into
eye.
why water fluoridation began, you find a convoluted, suspicious
Descartes would hate this man. Yeah, no. Descartes would spend 5 minutes in a room with this guy and then slap him before walking out.
mess, mostly centering around the aluminum production company Alcoa, who supposedly had a lot of toxic waste to spare that took the form of fluoride as a byproduct of aluminum production. After a single biochemist who was sponsored by them showed in a lab that fluoride affects cavities in rats in 1939, so the story goes, the first public proposal that the US should fluoridate its water supplies were made, not by a doctor, but by an industry scientist.
Fluoride is in our toothpaste, dog.
Nowadays, our water is fluoridated in over 24 countries, mostly in the Western world. According to chemist and researcher Charles E. Perkins, who wrote the book The Truth About Water Fluoridation, repeated doses of infinitesimal amounts of fluoride will in time reduce an individual's ability to resist domination by slowly poisoning a certain area of the brain, thus making them submissive to the will of those who wish to govern them. While there are unsupported theories that the Nazis used the chemical in concentration camps, or the USSR in their gulags, the threat of fluoride isn't just a theory. The work of Jennifer Luke in the 90s showed that by old age, the pineal gland contains the same amount of fluoride as teeth, having been calcified as we age. Further, a huge review on fluoride toxicity published by the National Research Council in 2006 reported a range of negative side effects from fluoride, including
Any substance ingested to a large enough degree can lead to negative and harmful effects on your body. That's true for everything. Water, iron. There are so many different things, different vitamins that are good for you. Like, the issue is fluoride can be very good for you. It can also be very bad for you if you just like snort a pile of it. Yeah, it can poison your body. If you're like, you know, just ingesting like a pound of fluoride, yeah, that's not going to go too well for you. But the argument that that's the level that they put in the water system is ridiculous. Because it's simply not.
including decreased melatonin production and other effects on normal pineal function, which in turn could contribute to a variety of bad effects in humans. In fact, studies from Harvard and China's Shanghai Health Institute may even have linked fluoride to reduced IQ in children, and even suggest that it could be toxic to a developing brain. As well as being linked to certain types of cancer, it's also been shown to destroy the male reproductive system in rabbits. The bottom line is, the benefit to risk ratio on water fluoridation is unclear due to a lack of good evidence, with most people not even knowing that they're drinking it. If the conspiracy theories are to be believed, professors doing this research have been met with numerous attempts to discredit them. Stephen Peckham, director of the Centre for Health Services at the University of Kent and professor at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine at the University of Toronto, has had his research of water fluoridation rejected from dental health journals.
is a good debunk of fluoride. Is there?
Hey everyone, so
Oh God, it's 19 minutes long. Uh. I mean, this seems fine. I'll trust chat. Good job, Fortnite.
He's even spoken out about being accused of statistics hacking and for research that made the link between fluoride and hypothyroidism. It seems as though someone does not want this info getting out.
Someone doesn't want this info getting out.
Entertainment and subliminal messaging. The entertainment industry has been a source of conspiracies for a long time, with often disturbing subliminal messages in children's entertainment, such as references to suicide and sex found in everything from Disney movies to SpongeBob. But it often goes deeper and darker. The entertainment industry, especially Disney, has seen several instances of hiring young children, making them into massive
fluoride has a connection to Florida Man.
I don't think so. But thank you for the $5 dono. Yes, Disney hiring child actors for their child programming. That's the conspiracy now.
celebrities, making a fortune off of them and driving them insane.
No, they don't drive them insane. It's just that the intense pressure of being a child star, and also this is your career now, and also people obsessing over you, like, tends to have pretty detrimental effects on kids. That's not, this isn't the conspiracy. This is just like, the entertainment business is not good for kids or their psychosocial development. That's not a conspiracy theory.
This has also happened with the K-pop industry, with their so-called slave contracts that force the young singers into decades of servitude, having them work endless hour days and running them to the point of exhaustion. There are actually many instances of these young singers collapsing on stage due to exhaustion. This also links back to the conversation of pedophilia networks, for many celebrities have now spoken out about how bad Hollywood really is for pedophilia, including people like Brad Pitt, Elijah Wood, Evan Rachel Wood, and Corey Feldman. The news. The news often perpetuates a story that things are bad and getting worse. There is a consistent theme from the news of toxicity, and as people watch this in mass, we come to believe it, and thus perpetuate it. The people running the news command more attention by spreading this kind of information because bad news gets more attention than positive stories, and therefore, we continue to create this reality. When you are constantly looking at the world in a negative light, you are not looking at your own light.
Good night, Robert
In fact,
Adset.
you don't even know that there is light within you.
This is so much nonsense. Just say what you want to communicate to us. My God.
There's only darkness, shadows, and frightening imagery. And so what happens? But humanity falls further and further into a world of self-created delusion. It's also worth mentioning that even the local news is ultimately both written for and controlled by a unified source, regardless of the network. Just watch this clip and you'll see how bad it really is.
Plaguing our country.
All of these news stations were owned by the same company that forced them to deliver this message. This was to protect that private company's bottom line. I believe that the company in question is Sinclair Broadcasting, a company that owns all of your public news broadcasts. All of your public news is bought and owned by Sinclair, or increasingly another company called Gannett. So that's where this comes from. It's not the New World Order trying to brainwash you, or the demiurge trying to keep you away from the spiritual plane. This is just capitalism at work.
Sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Fast Walker. My hope would be that when I put out this stuff as like segments, my hope would be that it would guide people who might otherwise fall for this away from this dangerous organization and this dangerous man, you know, who's like just feeding desperate people misinformation to try and take advantage of them, you know?
true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Mass surveillance. The Medal of Honor for revealing this really goes to Edward Snowden, the whistleblower who brought to the collective attention how the Secret Service of the US and UK governments had the ability to spy on literally everyone, tracking metadata, watching everywhere that you go, and what you're up to. The first program to be revealed was PRISM, which allows for court-approved direct access to Americans' Google and Yahoo accounts and everything in them. Then came Tempora, a British Black Ops surveillance program run by the NSA's British partner, GCHQ. This includes stuff like call databases, numbers, text messages, and even a secret court order requiring Verizon to hand the NSA millions of Americans' phone records daily. One of Snowden's most frightening statements came in 2013, when he explained that by using the X-Keyscore program, I, sitting at my desk, could wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant, to a federal judge or even the president, if I had a personal email. The NSA's top secret black budget, obtained by Snowden, exposed the successes and failures of over 16 spy agencies comprising the US intelligence community, and revealed that the NSA was paying US private tech companies for clandestine access to their communications networks. All in all, it was revealed that the NSA was harvesting millions of emails and instant messaging contact lists, searching email content, tracking and mapping the location of cell phones, undermining attempts at encryption via Bull Run, and that the agency was using cookies to piggyback.
Yeah, by the way, this isn't the conspiracy theory. This is just accurate information that got leaked to the public. Like, if you want this information, just go look up the Edward Snowden leaks. Don't watch this video. Go look that up. Go look up what Edward Snowden leaked. That's not a conspiracy. That's real. He had to flee to Russia.
On the same tools used by internet advertisers to pinpoint targets for government hacking and to bolster surveillance. And yet, after all of this info being dropped, it has mysteriously disappeared from mainstream discussion. Our belief systems, we do it to ourselves. At some level, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. As easy as it may be to point the finger at the ruling elite, and there's no question, justice must be served, we must also recognize ourselves as a part of the problem through our own beliefs, herd mentality, and lack.
Yeah, exactly. Every time he ends one of these conspiracy theories, he's like, what are they not telling us? You know, them. Like, every time he says it, without elaborating, the echo marks get more and more defined.
Lack of mindfulness and unwillingness to strive for wisdom. If we wish to truly be a part of the solution.
Did all of this disappear, or did people stop talking about it because it's been like a decade? The second one. None of the programs, to my knowledge, that Edward Snowden revealed were ever stopped.
I know you've heard this before, but it's more serious than ever. Be the change you wish to see in the world. As Bruce Lipton has demonstrated with his groundbreaking work in epigenetics, our very beliefs affect our biological systems in deep and very impactful ways. If we can believe we can live a happy life, then we can. And if we believe that it's impossible, then we actually shut off ourselves and our bodies from receiving and experiencing satisfaction.
That's right, guys. If you have to, make sure you ignore your material reality, and just believe that you can be better. Ignore your material conditions. Just believe that it can be better blindly, and it will become so.
Further, people will often try and rope their friends into their belief systems in order to validate their own opinions and perspectives. And so what we're dealing with here is a mass field of consciousness that is trying to push its beliefs onto everyone else, and the truth is muddled and lost. Generally speaking, all of this unconsciousness keeps us small, and we do it to ourselves. The collective mindset often appears to lack any interest in education, learning, wisdom, or connecting with truth, and in this may compel us to outrageous levels of stupidity. Now, at some level, we must be able to laugh at ourselves, because humans are notorious for often doing very dumb things. And in today's day and age, these things are often captured on camera and shared for all to see, which fills up Reddit and YouTube channels to no end. For example, scrolling through Reddit's Our What Could Go Wrong channel will bring endless laughter at the ridiculous things that people do every day. Yet, it is also a clear reflection of our lack of ability to generally exercise a higher consciousness on a regular basis. If we really want to evolve, we have to do better. From the very top of the chain to the very bottom, it seems clear that there is a problem. At the beginning of this chapter, we said that there is a sickness running through the underbelly of human consciousness. And while we have explored the idea that this sickness may be perpetuated and inflicted upon us by a demonic consciousness, whether it's sick, twisted psychopaths, a reptilian species, or demonic entities themselves.
I'm sorry, what was that? What were the last two? The reptile people are real? Reptiles and demons and international cabals, huh? Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, just don't elaborate on any of those, okay?
The truth is that we actively perpetuate it by staying asleep, pessimistic, and disconnected. And such is the nature of this chapter within the conspiracy theory of everything. Upon exploring the spiritual path, we can see that we remain complacent due to the disconnection of our souls. For when we live just from the ego, we live...
Oh no.
Consciousness and to staying asleep chapter exploration of our souls. For when we live just from...
Oh no, it's me. It's literally me. Oh no!
From the ego, we live as self-centered, materialistic, pleasure-seeking beings who do not actively perceive or care for the search for anything greater. The soul is the voice of truth, love, and compassion within you, the most authentic and highest version of you. It is the eye of awareness within your heart that connects you to everything, that sees and knows that all things are connected. However, in mass...
Okay, just real quick, can we just also point out the... Like I hate this. I hate that this guy is trying to like equate his insane, weird, nonsense cult with like actual indigenous like spiritual practice and belief. You know? Like I hate that. This is authentic and the highest version of you. Yeah, you know, like he connects his beliefs to like the religious beliefs and practices of people who've been like practicing them for thousands of years. It's insane.
It is the eye of awareness
Deeply disrespectful
within your heart that connects you to everything, that sees and knows that all things are connected. However, in mass, there are so many who are disconnected from the soul and don't even believe that it exists. Thus, ideas like this are often ridiculed and demeaned by the masses, which further perpetuates the soulless body of human consciousness running rampant. A body of ego. Obviously, this makes it very easy for the elite to control the collective mind using
The elite.
all of the ways that we've explored, because we are not operating from a state of higher collective consciousness. Rather,
Yeah, I understand, especially from like, I'm kind of like a ambivalent when it comes to like religious belief, and I understand people who take a more harder atheist stance on it, being like, well, it's all kind of bullshit, right? And I do agree to a certain extent. However, I think that there is a scale, a sliding scale of bullshit, you know? On the one hand, I think that like something that's been around for thousands of years that is culturally and societally important, like I think that there is a certain tolerance we should have for stuff like that. You know? On the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, you have whatever the hell this is that is leading to like the direct sexual exploitation of people who watch these videos. It's leading to like the direct abuse of people who get involved in this cult, you know? I think that there's a difference between the two.
we are operating as if we are chickens with our heads cut off. Yet, if even but a glimpse of the soul can be seen, which often happens through lucid dreams, near-death experiences, psychedelic experiences, or other personal transformational revelations, an individual is usually changed forever. It is very difficult to go back to the way things were when you suddenly see and experience within that you are a part of something so much greater than yourself, and that your own thoughts, feelings, and actions have a direct impact on the world around you. How could you go back to being ignorant of this once you know a higher truth? We must be mindful that solving this problem must be taken from both ends of the spectrum. Those who are perpetuating the crimes against humanity, the mass manipulation, the pedophiles, the rapists, the murderers, all of them must be brought to justice. However, if we think this will solve all of our problems, we are sorely mistaken. For if we remain asleep and complacent, we remove one leader and a new one just takes its place, and the cycle continues forever.
Ah, yes. Finally, we have spirit science, I guess, coming out and saying that horseshoe theory is a thing now. Even in spirit science. My God. Remember, chat? This guy had an experience with psychedelics in which Emma Watson told him profound spiritual truths. You're not kidding? My God. Practice this. I'll practice some twerking.
Thus, the other half of the equation is that we must also take it upon ourselves, each of us, to evolve our way of thinking, to heal the connection with our soul, and to be examples of what it means to be virtuous, soulful, and compassionate. But again, this is only still just the beginning, for our journey of waking up also stands in alignment with the evolution of technology and the introduction of new tech that will forever shape the future as we know it. The subject of extraterrestrials has mystified humanity for countless generations. The question of, are we alone in the universe, has inspired us to push forward and advance.
It's time. It's time for us to do aliens. That's right. The next 20 minutes is entirely about aliens. Supposedly. Supposedly. I'm gonna take the opportunity of like there being a pause in the narrative of this to just say, hi, everybody. What is this? We're watching the Conspiracy Theory of Everything video by Spirit Science. And I'm in a bunny girl costume. Both Vunch and Actual Jake covered it. Covered this guy. Alright. Hey, Bill Casey. I am doing okay. Not particularly well. This week has been a hellscape for news. Berserk Jazerk, thank you for watching 7 streams in a row. I appreciate it. Well, chat unlocked the bunny girl costume, Trans Girl Jade, so I can't take all the credit here. Can we be for real and acknowledge there ain't no way that aluminum foil sculpture they called the moon landing module actually could have landed on the moon? We went over, we already did the anti-moon hoax video. You'll have to wait for that. But if you're gonna be here, like, just be spewing conspiracy theory nonsense about how the moon landing was faked, like, you'd be better served elsewhere, okay?
One sub closer to the tub BWA.
Very Knifey Duck, thank you for gifting a sub to Lady Raincloud. And yes, we are now only 7 subs away from a hot tub stream. So, y'all get on that. Yes, I will do a hot tub stream. There is, in fact, a hot tub in my building. So I could feasibly do a hot tub stream. I can't guarantee I'll look good doing the hot tub stream, but I could do a hot tub stream. This is not a bit. It's true, it's not. Offer's only good until the end of stream, though. Anyway. Where do you draw the line on crazy when you're dating? If something indicates, like, a very unreasonable pattern of behavior with, like, a lack of communication, I guess. Charlie, you'll definitely get there. See, the thing is, I don't feel like I look good in this costume, but I do appreciate the reinforcement from all y'all. Would you date a crystal mommy, or is that over the line? I feel like for me that would be a bit over the line. I think there's a difference between, like, teehee, I like the crystal because it looks good and I like the vibe it brings the room, versus teehee, I need these crystals because they realign my chakras, and you know, like, I feel like it would depend on the level of crystal mommy, you know? Like, the same if somebody's, like, super into astrology, I wouldn't be into that. Boop. All right, back we go. But, oh, wait. Hello, chat. Remember to hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the YouTube stream, and, we'll get back into this, okay?
Advance as a species in the search for life in the great beyond. But to this day, judging by the way people generally treat the subject, it would appear that we have yet to make any form of substantial contact. Yet. the awareness of a deeper truth, that something is being hidden from us, is regularly being leaked to this day. Let's start with some basics, which would be UFOs, which we all know stands for Unidentified Flying Objects, or as they're starting to be called today, UAVs, Unidentified Aerial Vehicles.
Oh,
It was
Dylan,
shortly after
no.
the 2 atomic bombs went off during World War II that UFO sightings spiked around the world. Hundreds of reports of UFOs began to emerge in the decade that followed the incident, and it was in 1947 in Roswell, New
Oh my god, are we doing the little gray men? Let's go! Real alien hours here.
Mexico that things got really interesting. Reports of a UFO crash landing in the shape of a flying disc inspired tremendous interest in possible alien activity as the US military quickly quarantined and cleaned up the site, claiming it was simply a weather balloon. This was really the beginning, and today, thanks to modern technology, especially cell phones, we have access to thousands, if not tens of thousands of seemingly unexplainable UFO sightings from around the world. My own personal favorite is the Dome of the Rock incident from 2011, where several independent people caught footage of a bright, glowing, and oscillating orb that descended over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. After hovering over the sacred temple for several moments, it shot upwards with tremendous speed, disappearing into the sky. In more recent
Yeah, totally real. Totally real. No special effects arenas over here.
times, a video that was leaked several years ago was released by none other than the Pentagon, featuring 3 separate accounts of US military pilots attempting to track and follow incredibly fast-moving aerial ships, without any clue as to what they were. Along with curious phenomena like these, we also have a long list of ex-military officials who have either claimed to have seen or even had some level of interaction with these crafts, identifying that not only are they real, but they have no idea what they are. One particular interesting subject in this discussion is the work of Robert Dean, a retired command sergeant major who, after that job, became a U.S.
So the thing about all of this, chat, is that the Pentagon releases these. If these were proof of aliens, the Pentagon wouldn't be releasing these videos. Like, these are not videos they would release if they were real. They would be some of the most closely guarded secrets in America.
Doing my part for hot tub action. Also, the royal family are actually alien lizard people, so this actually ties into your last stream.
True. Fast Walker, thank you for the $10 dono. That is very generous of you. That means we only need 5 more subs, chat, for that hot tub stream. Get on it. Now, the other aspect is that the position of the US government has never been that that UFOs are aliens. UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object. All of these are presumed to be terrestrial human crafts. It would take additional evidence to confirm that they are, in fact, not human crafts.
ufologist, and had been very public about his experiences with UFOs and ETs up until his passing away in 2018. At one point, he gave a presentation, the full thing of which you can find available on YouTube, accounting many of the things that he saw in the military and NASA. The most interesting of which being the story of what happened during the real moon landing. Now, many people today believe that the moon landing itself is a conspiracy, that it was faked because of certain things that stand out about the moon landing that don't make sense, such as why the crosshairs of a camera are appearing behind a particular object on the screen, or the strange objects in the reflection of the astronaut's visor. But what Robert Dean has described...
Yeah, there couldn't possibly be any explanations for those. definitely don't look up any any information. Just take it directly from this video. Or, I guess by the time this this takedown of the conspiracy of everything comes out, I have another video where we go over how the moon landing wasn't actually faked. That video is 2 hours long, so maybe watch that one and then come back and finish watching this.
Was that there was actually a real moon landing, but what happened was that upon arriving at the moon, what the astronauts found was that it was populated. There
Citation needed to the greatest possible degree.
were, according to him, little alien people walking all over the place, ships flying through the, well, I'd call it air, but I guess they don't have oxygen up there, do they? This was such a shock to the astronauts that after their visit they returned back with 40 rolls of film of what they saw, and NASA supposedly destroyed it. The thinking seems to be that the revelation of this truth was so out there that NASA buried the truth because of what would happen to the world if this was to get out. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in support of hiding the truth, but at the same time, think of how many
Man, that was a whole lot to drop on us with absolutely no citations to back up your claim. That's insane.
religious beliefs would be shattered from this truth. How much chaos would be caused if all of a sudden our entire global paradigm was to change in an instant. Again, I'm not saying that they're destroying the footage, if it did happen, was a good thing, but at the very least, trying to see things from every perspective.
Honestly, Fortnite, we don't even know what his claim is based on, because he he's so unwilling to cite anything, either for or against his ideas, that he just moseys through all of it, glossing over any actual evidence for or against. It's crazy.
Specifically, there was an ex-CIA operative who spoke with AJ Plus at one point, and she described that the single most important thing that she learned from her time as basically a spy was that everyone believes they are the good guy. So even if this event did happen, whoever it is at NASA who controlled all of the information probably did it believing they were doing the right thing. We will return to Robert Dean at another point soon because he shared something else that was very interesting. However, first we have to discuss this. You may be familiar with a man named Bob Lazar, one of, if not the first, to come forward with inside leaks about the secret government UFO programs. He claimed to have been hired in the late 1980s to reverse engineer purported extraterrestrial technology at what he described was a secret site called S4, a site similar to, and rather close to, Area 51. He described that he had access to a recovered UFO ship and for several years was attempting to discover the secrets of how it worked. Lazar claimed that the propulsion of the studied vehicle was fueled by the chemical element with the atomic number 115, known today as Moscovium, or E-115, which at the time was named Unumpentium, since it hadn't been created yet. However, it was first synthesized in 2003 by a joint team of Russian and American scientists for real. He said that the propulsion system relied on a stable isotope of E-115, which supposedly generated a gravity wave after being excited by livermorium, element 116, during proton bombardment. He argued that the decay products brought about by the reaction between the two elements would include gravitons, a hypothetical quantum particle that is thought to be responsible for gravity. In his new Netflix documentary, he used the analogy that the craft is kind of like a bowling ball.
It's almost like this guy's just full of scientific bullshit. And he's not talking about anything that he knows anything about. The amount of insanity that he's throwing at us, expecting his audience to swallow, is wild. As Nerodia quite correctly points out, there are no stable isotopes that high. That isn't scientifically possible. Second of all, oh yeah, we should definitely just believe a guy who said he worked on an alien spaceship. Yeah, you should just accept the testimony from that guy, sight unseen. That's the thing though, Jack, I don't swallow. Well, good, I'm glad you're maintaining your skepticism. My god.
If you were to put a ball onto a piece of fabric or your bed sheet and then proceeded to push down on the areas around it, the bowling ball would fall forward into the bends and gaps that you create around it. In this way, the craft would kind of just fall through space by distorting space-time around it, like in a continuous rolling motion. This is what allowed the vehicle to fly and to evade visual detection by bending light around it. He said it levitated silently, and when it was activated, he was unable to even put his hand on it, because the force would repel his hand away like a strong gravitational field.
Ah, yes. You know, gravitational fields, things that famously repel people away. My god. Also, my dude, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. We're talking about spirit science and going over their theory, their conspiracy theory of everything. And it is infuriating because it's a bunch of conspiracies as argued for or against by a cult. And it's about as crazy as that might lead you to believe. We're currently talking about aliens. Also, hello, Corey the Ander. Welcome. Welcome, my dude raiders. I hope you had an excellent time over on my dude stream. And folks, go give my dude a follow over on Twitch. Go let him know. Go let him know that you're going to check out his content, okay? Conspiracy in latex. So this isn't actually latex. I don't have my latex shining like lubricant with me, unfortunately, but I do have the latex dress, so I will wear that on a new day. But today, chat voted on a cosplay outfit for me to wear, and voted in favor of bunny girl. So that's what I'm doing now. He made a YouTube recently. Oh, yo, folks, go follow my dude over on News Dude on YouTube. Give it a subscribe. All right, back to Pain.
According to intel that he received while at S4, the ship, which was one of 9 that the military had access to, was originally from the twin binary star system called Zeta Reticuli, and had belonged to the Greys, which are the most common visual of aliens that we generally see today when you think of what an alien might look like. We even have an emoji for it. He also explained that the way that the military worked was so secretive that they wouldn't even let the various divisions studying the craft to communicate with each other, so progress on reverse engineering the technology was very slow. While one
kill
group would
these
be
guys
working
in
on
XCOM,
controls, another on propulsion, and another on, well, you get the picture. But due to this isolation, they wouldn't easily be able to identify how the different parts of the ship were interconnected and worked together, and thus reverse engineering became very difficult. This was especially challenging because supposedly the ship was entirely interconnected. There weren't really any moving parts. It seemed to be one singular solid object. The seat and floor and panels and walls were all one singular material, with no sharp edges anywhere, an entirely different kind of machine than anything we're used to today. Now, after Lazar came out publicly about this, his life fell apart. Many people quickly looked into his life and found that he seemingly never had any of the education degrees that he claimed to have had.
Oh, well, you know, that would tend to destroy someone's credibility.
Yet, upon deeper investigation, Documents stored away in his old university proved that he was telling the truth. Bob explained that after he came out publicly, he received a phone call from his ex-employers who said, "Do you have any idea what we're going to do to you now that you've done this?" And for many years,
Ah, yes. They conspired to destroy his life.
Bob suffered as much of his past was erased, and he was made to look like a fool in front of the masses. Now, Bob's story is a very interesting one. My highest recommendation
Yeah, why? I can't conceive of why a guy who claimed to work on an alien ship with no receipts would become a laughingstock to the masses. I can't possibly fathom that.
is checking out the documentary he created with Jeremy Corbell called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, as well as the Joe Rogan podcast that they appeared on, where Bob goes deep into the story of what happened and what he learned. But Bob isn't the only one to come forward with some fascinating stories, and this brings us to Dr. Stephen Greer, who founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or CSETI, in 1990 to create a diplomatic and research-based initiative to contact extraterrestrial civilizations, along with the Disclosure Project in 1993, a research project devoted to disclosing to the public information that the government and military supposedly have had regarding the existence of UFOs and ETs. The organization claims to have over 3,000 confirmed reports of UFO sightings by pilots and over 4,000 proofs of what they describe as landing traces.
And yet again, I need to point out that having proof of a UFO is still not proof of any kind of extraterrestrial. I need to point that out. You can have as many proofs for unidentified flying objects as you want. People are gonna see shit they don't recognize all the time. The world's a big place full of wild wonders and like incredible physical interactions. But that doesn't mean all those things are aliens.
Evidence of UFOs landing on the Earth and leaving behind a sort of electromagnetic signature. If we pair this with what Bob Lazar said, it's entirely possible these ships could be bending light, entirely invisible to us, though perhaps not high-level military scanners. Dr. Greer also appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast many years ago and explained some very interesting things. What he received from a collection of over 30 documents from the NRO, NSA, CIA, FBI, and presidential briefings was that the way that these ships work and the way these ETs understand the universe is leagues beyond our own. What he described was that while today we believe that light is the fastest thing in the universe, this is only a barrier, and on the other side of the speed of light are laws that are governed by some sort of super consciousness, and that it is from this higher awareness that interdimensional travel becomes possible, and you can move throughout the universe nearly instantaneously without worrying about the speed of light, which is simply too slow to travel at if you're going from solar system to solar system, or especially across the galaxy, or even between galaxies. This is incredibly important to us because it's relative to the idea that consciousness and conscious thought actively steers the field of reality that creates the experiences that we have.
Oh yeah, he believes in reality fields. Yeah, no, like all of this is bullshit. If you know how, even if you know of like how a part of some of this works, you can figure out that some of this is bullshit, you know? Like, for some of this, you might not know your periodic table. You might nod along with that. But, like, this isn't how top secret information works, guys. This isn't how reality works. This isn't scientific. This is, like, effectively, like, as if they got the script writer from all of the Star Trek shows but specifically only the Star Trek writer that does like the tech speak, you know, to write an entire cult's philosophy. You know, this is like flux capacitor lingo.
This is a subject we will return to shortly. However, this conversation has one massive implication. You see, one thing that Dr. Greer explained was that the significance of alien life to us
Technobabble,
isn't
thank you.
really all about ETs at all, but about technology. The very instant that it became available would completely transform life on Earth forever. Imagine suddenly being able to travel to distant planets or explore the universe and forget about having power to fuel the entire world's energy requirements forever. You'd have enough power to blow up a planet if you wanted to. This has tremendous implications to it and may even be part of the reasoning for keeping the technology hidden for now. The question arises, is this technology hidden so that only the secret rulers of the world can have it? Or is it because humanity is not yet ready to inherit such a gift? One final piece in the ET and UFO conspiracy is the concept of the hoaxed alien attack. This comes from the late Dr. Werner von Braun, the top Nazi scientist of Hitler's army, who, after World War II, came to the
Oh hey, this is like the minute long we watched last night.
United States to work for the US government. Funny how that happens. And on his deathbed, he theorized that after a war with the Middle East, one day there would be a hoaxed alien attack, which was a part of the secret plan to weaponize space and control the world.
That's right, everybody. Watchmen is real. Watchmen is real.
He actually urged Dr. Rosen, his
Good night,
secretary,
Charlie.
to thwart this plan above all else, because if it were to come to pass and space was weaponized, whoever controlled these powers would have...
Yeah, honestly, a very worthwhile reminder at all points of this video, Fast Walker. He prefaced all of this by saying none of this video is based in fact.
complete and supreme control over everyone, and the world would fall under the complete control of the oppressors. Now, the subject of ETs does not end there, however, because there is also the reptilian conspiracy, most famously brought to the public attention by the British conspiracy theorist David Icke.
Ironically, David Icke looks extremely reptilian in this photo.
It's become one of the most infamous and popular conspiracy theories ever, sparking numerous parodies and commentaries in the media and TV shows. To put it simply, Icke believes that an interdimensional race of reptilian entities known as Archons
We did it. We got to the reptilians, boys.
have hijacked the Earth and are stopping humanity from realizing our true potential. He has argued that these Archons are the same beings mentioned in many Gnostic texts that have identified themselves as demons and rulers of the 7 planets in various traditions.
What? Wait, each planet has its own demon lord? Tell me more. I want to know about the Venusian demon lord, okay?
Mostly having the ultimate goal of preventing souls from leaving the material realm. He claims that because of this, they have gone by many names throughout history, including the Anunnaki from Sumerian myth,
Oh, of course.
and the Watchers and Nephilim from the Book of Enoch.
Yep, of course. We got
He
giants,
argues-
baby. This is how we have giants. Giants are real. The Nephilim are real. Let's go.
That human sacrifice to the gods in the ancient world was actually for the reptilians' benefit, especially the sacrifice of children.
You know, I guess they had, you know, he really felt he had to bury the lead an hour into the video to get to the real good conspiracies.
Because he tells us that at the moment of death by sacrifice, a form of adrenaline surges through the body, accumulating at the base of the brain, and is apparently more potent in children, something that is today reminiscent of adrenochrome.
Is he trying to argue that Monsters Inc. was actually a secret subliminal message to educate people about the QAnon conspiracy, about children being like tortured and sacrificed for their adrenochrome? That's what he's saying, right? I didn't think we would get so far down the rabbit hole that we would see that Pixar films are predicting QAnon, but okay.
Bringing it more into the modern day, he claims that
Why are you using this visual? Why would you use this? Look at how happy this guy is. He gooning. He gooning over here. The one on the left is like showing like his porn and fetishes to his friend over here on the right. And the friend on the right is just silently judging.
genetically modified human Archon hybrid race of shape-shifting
Indica
reptilians
versus
known as the
Sativa.
Babylonian Brotherhood, or the Illuminati or Freemasons to us today, manipulate global
Oh, okay, so the Illuminati and the Freemasons are interchangeable, and they are controlling the world. You know, they are controlling the world. Gotcha.
events to keep humans in constant fear, so that the Archons can feed off of the negative energy that this creates.
There is 9/11. Yep. We did it. We finally found 9/11 in the conspiracy video.
So that the Archons can
And we also learned that apparently lizard people did 9/11. Okay.
feed off of the negative energy that this creates. Now, he has also claimed that the members of this secret elite are descended from reptilians coming from the Draco constellation.
Get it, chat? They're reptilians, so they come from the Draco constellation. The dragon constellation. They're reptiles, they come from the dragon one. Of course. Where else would they possibly come from?
He stated that the reptilians come not only from another planet, but also another dimension,
Oh,
the
cool.
lower level of the fourth dimension, which he calls the astral plane.
What? The lower level of the fourth dimension, as opposed to what other dimensions? Can we get like a dimension map?
The one nearest to the physical world. As of 2003, when his books originally brought this theory out, he said that the reptilian bloodlines include all American presidents, 3 British and 2 Canadian prime ministers, several Sumerian kings and Egyptian pharaohs, and a whole bunch of celebrities. Remember when that article went viral about how Justin Bieber supposedly turned into a giant reptile in front of everyone? Some of the most prominent bloodlines are said to include
No, I don't remember the article where they said Justin Bieber turned into a giant lizard monster. Actually, also, some of the most prominent bloodlines? I wonder which ones.
the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, various wealthy European families,
The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, along with other wealthy European families. You don't say. I wonder if predominantly these wealthy families seem to be of a certain religious persuasion. Kind of seems like that's where you're headed with this. Were the Medici's reptiles? God.
and established families of the eastern United States and the British royal family.
Oh,
In fact,
well, that one makes sense.
he said in numerous interviews that he saw former British Prime Minister Ted Heath's eyes turn entirely jet black while the two men waited for a Sky News interview in 1989. Ultimately, the global elite make up the top of the pyramid for the reptilians in modern day,
Global elite.
all with the intention to keep us sedated and trapped in this reality without gaining a higher knowledge. At the top of the global elite are what Ike has referred to as the prison wardens.
No, again, the guy. This is what I mean when I say that this is basically a knockoff of Scientology.
Who oversee us in what is, to them, just a prison world.
Honestly, Kiwi bird lizard people were often used as like a a way to paint Jewish people, you know, like the lizard. There's been an awful lot of conflation in conspiracy circles between like lizard people and like anti-Jewish like conspiracism, which honestly is a shame because it makes the whole lizard person thing a lot less fun. But yeah, there's an unfortunate overlap in people kind of masking their anti-Semitism as merely being, oh, I'm not actually anti-Semitic. I just don't like the reptilians. I don't like the lizard people. You know? I'm sorry, that's just really, really weird. It is really deeply weird.
Along with the New World Order, their main goal is apparently to create a microchipped population, a one-world government, and a global Orwellian fascist state, a brave new world, which he claims will be a post-truth era where freedom of speech is denied. And how are they planning to do this, you might ask?
A post-truth era.
Well, if Ike is to be believed, then
says guy advocating for lizard people conspiracies.
the Brotherhood either created or controls everything. Things like the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, Round Table, the Council on Foreign Relations, Chatham House, the Club of Rome, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberg Group, as well as the media, military, CIA, MI6, Mossad, scientific publications, most religious doctrine, and even the internet. In other words, they control every aspect of our society and can make us believe what they want, when they want. Before we move on, I think it's important that we now revisit Bob Dean and a particularly interesting story that he shared during the European Exopolitics Summit in 2009. He described that he was attending his son's retirement ceremony from the US Navy in Washington, D.C., and at this event, there were a great deal of active and retired generals, admirals, captains, and more. One particular retired Navy scientist approached him and said, "Hey, I know you. You're that retired command sergeant major who has opened up about the UFOs. I have a story for you, that my last government job was as a plasma fusion physicist at a top secret place outside of Las Vegas, and I was working there for 5 years with 2 guys who were not from here. They were from somewhere else, delightful people supporting us in figuring out plasma fusion, which equates to infinite energy forever." The man said, "After a few years of working with these guys, I approached one of them and asked, okay, what do you really think of us, humans, as a species?" And the alien said, "Well, since you've asked, we think you are a primitive, savage, and dangerous race." The other alien who was listening in then leaned in and said, "And you also smell bad." And he explained that it's not really about our bodies, although yes, we have polluted our bodies and the earth to a wild extent, but that we also have a psychic odor about us. Our thoughts and feelings are so negative
Your thoughts are smelly.
that other higher species find it terribly offensive. While
That explains why aliens don't generally come here. Our psychic emanations have poisoned the void around us.
this story is actually kind of funny, it's also something that we should take very seriously. According to the reports and expressions from many whistleblowers, the other species who are interacting with us are actually mostly benevolent. And
Source, many people are saying this. Many people are saying that all of the aliens are benevolent, and that our thoughts are stinky.
if we can really listen to what they have to say and do some meaningful self-reflection,
You are
it
cringe
may
and
just
stinky.
help us to clear
Yeah.
out our own negativity, release ourselves from any reptilian or other controlling influences, and put us into a position to meet some really cool otherworldly species. Know your customer.
Citation is many people are saying this. I just like, man, I'm not asking for like a lot of citations here. I'm just asking for like any that's like rooted in like like facts, anything at all. Like this anecdotal, like, well, this guy saw a lot of things and said he saw a lot of things, doesn't fly when we're talking about alien conspiracies of creatures and factions that run the entire world.
It's the de facto business mantra of our modern era. Collect enough information on everyone's web browsing and social media habits.
Oh, we're in the final third of the documentary. It's time for another little pause. Hello. How y'all doing? We've been going for about 5 hours. If you've been enjoying the stream, please hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs or donos. We need 5 more to get that that hot tub stream in the future. Let's go. Also, yes, I am in a bunny girl costume. Chat unlocked it with donos. YouTube, look, my brain was primed to say that one, and I was hoping you guys wouldn't notice that I slipped it in there. Hey, Method Yahoo. Anyway, just a reminder, this hot tub offer is only temporarily on the table, okay? Can we call you Jackrabbit? Yes, you may. Slipped in where? You know where. Oh, the hiccups. Why? Let's see. Also, let's see how we're doing on likes. How are we doing on stream likes? Huh? How y'all hanging out? We've got 83 likes on the stream. If we get only 17 more, we'll be at 100. And I think we can do that, okay? I think we can do that. We've got like 180 people watching right now. I think we could do 17 more likes on the YouTube stream. I'm gonna make an OC called Jackrabbit now. It's going to be a girl boy with big boobs, a bunny girl uniform, and a cool big gun. Hell yeah. As all OCs should be. I agree. Will you be streaming again tomorrow? Probably. That's the plan. My brain is much, which is more than can be said for spirit science. True. All right. Back to this. Keep in mind, we need 5 more subs. Or their dono equivalent. Here we go!
Listen to what they talk about when they believe they're alone, and feed the data into a network of computers so complex that computer scientists aren't even sure how it works at all anymore.
What?
This complex neural network of computers, data, and programs are then linked to nearly all of us through the apps and web services.
The internet isn't a neural network. That's a different thing. Stop conflating different techno things
that we use on a daily basis, spitting out products, content, and suggestions catered to individual desires better than anything that has ever been done before, keeping the masses glued and engaged on their phones, tablets, and desktops like nobody's business, and have been specifically designed to manipulate our thoughts and feelings in order to keep us using the apps longer, get our friends and family engaging, and spend more money in the process. This is our current reality. And what's more interesting, the business model is wildly successful.
Yeah, Elon Musk did put one of his chips in someone's brain. That is true. I hope it had positive results for the like quadriplegic who got it. Really preying on desperate people there with that technology.
and most people don't even know that they're a part of it. Where does humanity go from here? A cyberpunk dystopia?
Well, yeah, that's what he does. That's what this type of propaganda is. It's throwing in a couple like softballs, right? Things that are obviously true, right? Like early on in the video talking about like oh god, what was it? Like how Monsanto poisons crops, right? And like yeah, it's true. Monsanto like gave tons of people cancer. Right?
Yeah, don't trust evil tech like Google's, but trust the good tech like these videos.
It's true. Catalina Gearbox, thank you for the $5 dono. Now we are 4 subs away from our hot tub stream. Yeah, so they'll take something true like that and then throw a bunch of like techno babble over it to like make it seem far more complicated, far more outside of the mental grasp of other people in the audience. And then they'll move on to start trying to talk about something that is less and less hinged to reality, you know? The motive for almost all of these things was to make money. Yeah. As opposed to like an evil cabal that secretly runs the world. The motive behind all of this is like private corporations trying to make money. That's it. This video just shows me people think what I do is actually magic. I mean, yeah, don't sell yourself short, Salmon Moose. A lot of programming to a lot of people is functionally equivalent to magic.
Technology continues to advance. There is concern growing in the minds of those who have freed themselves from the Matrix long enough to realize that there is an issue. As technology continues to evolve and humans become more integrated with it, the line seems to blur between what is real and what is not. Then again, if all of reality is an illusion anyways, does it even matter? Let us begin our exploration with a software that
Jesus. If it's all an illusion, does it even really matter?
that currently exists today,
Bruh.
that begins to blur the lines between reality and illusion. Deepfakes. Technology is just now reaching a point where we can produce videos of just about anyone saying or doing things that they otherwise wouldn't say.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit.
Granted,
I believe Obama would actually say that though. Yeah, I as far as like brain chip technology goes, I think it is a good improvement for us to make, like a good tech for us to invest and like learn more about, specifically because I think it'll improve like the quality of life of people who need like bionic limbs, for example. Like we could have far more responsive like bionic limbs, people could move around, it would restore mobility to certain people. I think that would be good in like a positive development. The main issue is it seems really unethical to me to like test it on a lot of the people who are being approached for testing. But that's kind of the nature of the beast.
this technology is still in its infancy, and while that clip itself can easily be identified as a fake, every day as it improves, it becomes more and more difficult to tell the difference between deepfake and reality. Even today, it's being used in nefarious ways, including making porn videos of celebrities by taking their faces and applying them to other bodies. As time goes on, we may exist in a world where across the internet could exist countless videos of famous people, celebrities, politicians, all saying things that they would never otherwise say.
Now, this is also true. This is a real problem that is very close on the horizon.
And what happens when it gets so good that nobody can tell the difference? The real and fake versions arguing over which one is authentic. But of course, this is only the beginning of our technological conspiracy.
I mean, I guess my current operating theory is once we hit that point, there will be like a financial investment in creating like a opposing AI that might be able to tell what things are made with AI, just kind of leading to some sort of like AI arms race of some kind. But I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea.
Conspiracies, and how we slowly lose touch with our world as we enter into new ones. One of the biggest growing concerns in the world is the belief that the powers that be are attempting to control everyone through advanced microchip technology.
Of course.
For while each of our mobile devices already track and monitor us, the microchips could be used to monitor and potentially even manipulate thoughts and emotions on a mass level,
How
just
so?
like Facebook and Google are already doing today. The powers that be wouldn't just be watching you on
The powers that be.
the outside, they'd be able to monitor everything inside, everything about you, down to what you think about. This technology, combined with an AI that can associate complex combinations of states within your physiology, predicting future behaviors and affecting our perception and decision-making process.
The thing is, what he's trying to allege here is functionally impossible for us to actually implement in any way, shape, or form in what he's trying to say here. Like, I have no doubt that a computer chip, like, implanted in your wrist or something could get some information about your body, but it couldn't detect your thoughts. That would require, like, a chip implanted into your brain.
A very scary and possible reality becomes available to us, one where we integrate with technology.
That human beings have always integrated with technology. The second we come up with a technology, we integrate with it. We're very good at that. That's one of our redeeming qualities as a species.
We know this is already happening on some level right now, with the algorithms actively recording everything you search and serving it back to you on a silver platter. This, however, would be a far more invasive integration. And what's even crazier to consider is that people would do it voluntarily. You see, very few people
Also, you could just use a VPN. Just spitballing here.
are going to just allow this technology to be embedded in their bodies just so that the government can monitor them. Rather, just like with cell phones today, the microchip will be a no-brainer for people who are willing to receive the benefits of this tech. And the exchange? Intimate access to your personal information. Everything you see, think, feel, touch, taste, and so on. But what kind of benefits would there be? Well, at the earliest level, which Elon Musk has already announced with Neuralink, is that by connecting a very few tiny wires directly into your brain, they could theoretically overwrite neural patterns of depression, anxiety, and even help heal spinal problems, among other things. But in the grand scheme of things,
that doesn't make any sense. That's not how depression works. It's not neural patterns making you depressed. Generally, it's the lack of certain chemicals that is making you depressed, or trauma. The best way to deal with it is to go to a therapist and maybe get medication if it's right for you.
and with a great deal of innovation, where this technology seems to go is into the realm of having a sort of telepathic link to the internet. When you have a question, instead of pulling out your phone and searching for the answers on the internet, you can access all of the information instantaneously about anything that you want. For others with the implant, you may find yourself connecting to others in a pseudo-telepathic kind of way, where your thoughts and feelings could be personally shared with others in real time, communicating beyond words, but with a language of images, pictures, and even sharing experiences. This would allow you to connect with others both mentally and empathically as well, which could bring people closer together. This would fundamentally change the education system too, for who needs school when you have instant access to every bit of information known to mankind right there in your mind? This chip,
Well, largely because school isn't necessarily about getting information into you, it's teaching you different ways of applying and combining and using that information to make decisions and arrive at correct solutions. God.
Chip could theoretically support you in downloading information thousands, if not millions of times faster than reading or watching documentaries. Much like Neo in The Matrix, downloading a lifetime worth of fighting techniques and becoming a kung fu master in a single day, this level of integration could be possible with this kind of technology. Imagine if you wanted to become an amazing artist or learn everything there is to learn about programming, quantum mechanics, or even becoming a professional accountant or lawyer.
I think these types of technologies would fundamentally break society. Like, we would have to have entirely new methods of socializing, that if you just Thanos snapped this technology into being, everything would break instantly, you know? Whatever society this kind of technology would exist in would be fundamentally different from our own.
So why not just spend an afternoon or evening downloading and installing courses directly into your mind? You could theoretically condense 6 years of intense university studies into a weekend and have the exact same level of knowledge, or even greater knowledge.
Wait, why would everything break? Because people wouldn't know how to socialize. Like right now, right? Say you wanted to go and learn how to do martial arts. You go to a class every week. Every week, you practice, you get to learn your you get to learn stuff from your classmates, from your teacher. You bond, you build social ties, etc. If this sort of technology immediately came on the scene, it would break the fundamental way we socialize together. You know? You can't become a kung fu master in a single day, even with that type of technology. Your body needs to train and adapt to the techniques. I mean, yeah, but we're talking Matrix technology level here, you know? Yeah, I mean, we're already running into some of the social problems that intense internet integration has brought to society, and we're already struggling. Dating apps commodify our loneliness. It's not good out there right now, and I just think that I mean, we could just hang out with people. Sure, but that's also a solution to the problem right now, and it seems like just telling people, go hang out with people, doesn't really work that well. And what I'm saying is, if you removed all need to ever interact with anybody ever to get the information you desire, I think that would have some disastrous results for how, we socially interact with our world and with society, you know? That's all I'm saying. It would have negative effects. Because people would learn less about how to socialize. And I don't think that similar skills could just be implanted in their brains. I think that it's a skill that you get by socializing. So all I'm saying is it would break down the current ways by which we interact with each other and socialize with each other. I think the advice, just hang out with people, doesn't hit because most people don't have time to because of working so much. I mean, that's part of it, but the other part is simply that in the past, people worked a lot too. But they were still forced to hang out with each other. They were still forced to be working physically alongside one another. They were still forced to be chatting with each other on the elevator ride down into the mines. There were still these petty, minor inconveniences that exist on a day-to-day basis that
Fuck it.
brought
We
people
hot
together.
Tub meta now. BWA.
Paladin, thank you for the $20 dono. Finally getting us to Hot Tub Stream. And I don't know what's going to be unlocked at tier 6, but my god. We'll find out. Yeah, all I'm saying is that there would need to be new social spaces, social opportunities, social arrangements for society, for a tech like that to not be incredibly disruptive to how we currently go about living our lives and socializing. That's all I'm trying to say. Yorick too easy. No, you're a freak of nature. I like this game. Anyway. Thanks, guys. Let's finish this.
Compared to someone who took the time to learn it the old-fashioned way. And as more and more people integrate with technology...
The thing is, Distron, I think it's even less of a need for a new third place. I think we would need something beyond a third place. I think a third place is something that works right now in the current society we live in. I think in the future in which this technology would be developed and would exist in, we would need like a fundamental different way of arranging our socializing.
It may even lead to a collective hive
Paladin
mind,
Lost is a goddamn
where everyone's
hero.
own brains become
Putting this
processors
stream on his
for
back,
a collective
getting us over the
consciousness
finish
shared
lines.
amongst all integrated people. On the one hand, it's very much like the Borg from Star Trek, but on the other hand, it seems to relate with many ancient writings, such as the Hermetic texts, as well as ideas that people like Stephen Greer have put forward. The idea that there is only one consciousness, and while all of our bodies appear separate and perceive disconnection from one another, ultimately, we're all sharing the same consciousness within the source field. The advent of this kind of technology would have earth-shattering implications for all of us, and life would never be the same. A sense of personal boundaries and privacy disappears as we become more open and interconnected in mind and body. But again, as wonderful as some of these ideas sound, the conspiracy remains. Who programmed the AI that links into our minds?
Oh my god,
And much
what?
like Facebook and Google operating today, would this mental tech dissolve our personality?
That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a valid ethical concern. Come on. There's a difference between a conspiracy and then like saying, "Hey, this technology has the potential to drastically change human life on this planet." Who made it? Are there any like ethical concerns about us using it? I think these are two very different things. And the second thing is not a conspiracy.
Personalities, losing our individuality, and making us more like robots? When all of us are connected
Thanks,
in this
Alex.
kind of way, the lines of reality blur further, and we are called to ask, who are we, really? Yet the microchip technology is really only the beginning for how we might connect through tech, because where things could go are directly into the realms of something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Let us start with some rather inconspicuous...
Oh, I'm sorry. UFOs and lizard people and brain chips and psychic reality fields aren't the realm of sci-fi. Okay. Hit us with your real sci-fi concepts.
Innovations that could change the landscape of the world in a massive way. Perhaps one day, let's say scientists and engineers complete a prototype for an artificial eye for blind people. One simple surgery, and it's a miracle. People who have been blind their whole lives suddenly have the gift of sight. But it won't stop there though. Suddenly these people can see wavelengths of light that normal eyes can't, have an integrated zoom feature giving them binocular eyes, and
So Geordi LaForge. You're describing Geordi LaForge from Star Trek.
even have an augmented reality display directly in their inner vision. These people could literally play Pokemon Go anywhere without a phone, literally seeing Pokemon all over the place. When cyborgs cannot
Nothing about what happened to the demiurge in all of this?
not only see, but see better.
Also, this video came out like a few weeks ago, and it's referencing Pokemon Go. Like, my God, 6 years past its due date.
Than someone with normal eyes. Even people with fine eyesight will want this upgrade, and a new generation of upgraded humans begins. Even on a less invasive level, we have the ideas like the digital contact lens depicted in the new Brave New World series, which is a contact that hooks into receptors in the back of your eye, giving you a direct mental and visual link to everyone else in society. This could happen with prosthetics too, and in a way it already is, although the tech is still in its infancy. If someone loses or breaks their legs or arms in a terrible accident, they can one day get bionic limbs that are more powerful and capable than any normal body part, giving them super strength or super speed, at least up to the limits of what the rest of the biological body can handle. When this tech is available, of course some people will opt to have their arms or legs replaced by bionic body parts. This may even be especially popular in top secret super soldier experiments done by militaries of the world, if they're not already doing it. Ideas like this have also been made popular in pop culture, such as with the cyborg in Treasure Planet or Ed Elric.
God, Treasure Planet was such a great movie. Treasure Planet, if you guys haven't seen it, that's a movie you should seek out. It's a good movie. It kind of boggles its third act, but the rest of the movie is great.
From Full Metal Alchemist. But speaking now to integrated experiences, let us shift our focus for a moment to consider VR. It's not impossible to think that something like the Oasis from Ready Player One could be right around our doorstep. A massive
Again, this is not conspiracy theory. This is just speculation about future tech. This is not a conspiracy.
Player online universe that puts you into the experience through VR technology. This could, and likely would, lead to a form of mass exodus from real life, as people begin shifting their lives into this digital realm. Why go to work in an office when you can work from any conceivable place in the universe? And then instead of spending time with friends at the bar after work, why not go hunting dragons together? Instead of playing racing games on your iPad, why not go and actually experience a race yourself? Completely immersive, yet safe from the comfort of your home. With all of the suffering in the world and the fantastic possibilities offered by VR, some people might seek out a life spent mostly or even totally in-game. And while everyone is inside of the game, what would happen to the real world? If we are not careful, we may
like, he realizes that like VR doesn't actually let you let you exist in a video game like Ready Player One, right? Like, if you're playing VR, you aren't mentally transported into the game. It's not like a Sword Art Online type situation. Like, you're physically still in your room.
may end up with a reality like Ready Player One, with massive slums taking over as people spend less and less time in
I guess, yeah, he's talking about Matrix tech, but then don't frame it as like a Ready Player One type VR situation. Like, if anything, he's moved farther away from his point because the technology needed to reach what he's talking about here would be the brain implants, which he was talking about earlier.
physical dimension. Why bother fixing the real world when the in-game world
What
is
about the Ready Player One bodysuit that lets you have sex? I don't know enough about Ready Player One to know if that's a real thing that they have in the movie or not.
always perfect, beautiful, or at least exactly as it's designed to be? But even this is not the end, and the lines around what is real begins to blur until you can't even see the line anymore. One day, it may even become possible to transport your entire consciousness into a game. This concept was demonstrated powerfully by a show called Sword Art Online, in which a VR
Did I call that, or did I fucking called my shot on this one, guys. I called my shot.
Our headset allowed individuals to leave their body behind as they enter into an entirely virtual reality. Your body is unconscious, you're not even aware of it, and you experience reality as if you are physically running around in
But then if you die in the game, you die for real.
Azeroth or Minecraft, Hyrule, or literally anywhere that you want.
Dot Hack
as
did do
anyone
it
that you
first.
want. Recently, this idea was also portrayed in an episode of Black Mirror, with a next level VR headset that is just a little disc that you put on the side of your head, and it transports your consciousness into a video game.
Okay, but you know what? That episode of that episode of Black Mirror should have been a lot more gay. Okay.
As you enter into a world where you can literally do anything, like fly, use magic, go on epic quests, or even just spend an entire summer fishing by a beautiful lake in paradise, the question becomes, why spend any time in the physical world at all? Do you want to have a super powerful body? Or a super sexy one? How do you want your face to look? You can customize it to your liking freely. Since this technology would connect directly to your brain, it could even stimulate sensations like getting drunk, taking psychedelics, or rewiring your thinking patterns to be however you want. If the only concern of having to unplug is eating and going to the bathroom, then undoubtedly someone will create a technology that makes it so that that isn't even an issue, and you will truly never have to leave. One might also wonder exactly what would happen to your physical body if you were to rewire your consciousness and brain inside of the game world. Would it change your body appearance at all?
This guy must be like a big SAO fan. There's a lot of footage from that show in here.
A mass exodus from the physical world would create tremendous changes within humanity, as part of the human race strives to live in this new world, and another part rebels against it, or simply cannot afford to play the game. Further, once brain integration happens and mass data is collected on people's reactions to certain stimuli or events, the artificial intelligence could skillfully filter and alter your perception in reality, or completely guide your experience in VR so that you rarely, if ever, have a desire to stop using it.
Is it possible for that episode to be more gay? Yes. That one guy should transition and then date his friend. Or they should just be gay together at the end of it. I'm spitting facts about that Black Mirror episode.
All this technology, especially putting
They
your
should
consciousness
kiss.
into a game,
They should smoochy
will at
kiss.
some point give the game creators an awareness of everything about you, your thoughts, your feelings, your choices, and it would allow anyone with the know-how to monitor you on a very intimate level. And yet, most people will probably skip past the 50 to 100 pages of terms of service and press accept anyways, because the ability to shoot fireballs and fly is
How's it gay if one of them transitions? Fair.
waiting for them on the other side of the sign-up page. And seeing the pinnacle of all of this together, as humanity grows and becomes more advanced and can even create an entirely robot body, if we can transfer our consciousness, our thoughts and memories into a machine, then we could exist with a robot body just like Ultron himself. When
Whoa,
that day
just
comes,
like Ultron.
we will be
Sign me
forced
up.
to ask, what constitutes a human being? Now, to some people, this already sounds amazing and can't wait for the future. However, the conspiratorial aspect of this comes in the form of a question. As we step into the next 100 years of change and beyond, who is really running the show? The foundation of the internet as
I guess I was using gay as a catch-all term. I'm sorry, I should have said queer. Make it more queer! There, is that better? Are we done nitpicking my language choices?
we know it is rooted in algorithms beyond anyone's understanding, designed almost entirely for the purpose of profit and marketing. Who controls these algorithms? Who dictates what we see? Currently, our attention is essential.
Honestly, like, some of these companies don't even know how their own algorithms work. At a certain point, it's going to be like effectively tech priests from Warhammer 40k. They're going to be praying to the AI spirit.
Actually open to the highest bidder. But is it possible that the AI
You need a
itself
brain
could
cells
take us
lost
all
counter.
over?
This is true. I've lost too many brain cells this day.
And
Good night,
if we are
Polyazzacracker.
integrated into this collective mind, is it possible for someone to simply decide what we think and feel? Even when the internet was in its infant stages, people were fantasizing about free and open access to information revolutionizing the world. And while that tech did become available, social media has also come to the forefront and allowed some of our worst primal instincts like tribalism and manipulation to resurface with greater strength than ever before.
Yeah, tribalism and manipulation didn't exist before the internet. Fivehead.
To go deeper into this, we must acknowledge that we're all responsible for our own behavior. But as far as social media is concerned,
Hey, don't
how we
my
use
OO.
this technology is also beholden to those who created it. In a recent Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma, several ex-employees of many social media tech giants like Google, Facebook, Instagram, and more sat down to reveal what they had inadvertently created with this pioneering technology: a monster. They explained that they have created a world in which billions of lives are affected by the decisions of a small number of programmers, a social reality in which, through the way that the apps and software work, it facilitates very small and subtle changes in the way that people think and feel. It's so subtle that you don't even know it's happening, but the result is that most of us end up living inside of a delusional bubble, seeing only the content that we're already exposed to seeing. And this software can even help us create negative responses to people who believe anything different than us. The technologies, they explained, are designed specifically to get as much engagement out of you as possible, to get you spending more and more time and then more money just by browsing these social media sites.
No, the social media companies don't care about you spending money through the site. They care about you seeing the ads. Their job is to sell ad space and to sell information. They sell both of those things, and the longer you spend on the site, the more ads you see and the more information they collect. So they're incentivized to get you to spend the most time on the website so they can make the most money off of you. That's it. The conspiracy here is just capitalism. Again, for like the 20th time in this video.
Really take a moment to think about that. Every single thing that comes up on your own social media feed was put there by an algorithm that was trying to get you to keep scrolling, to warm you up to spending money with an ad, or continue to foster engagement by connecting with other people and bringing them.
No, but see, for companies that sell ad space, they don't care if you spend money on the thing that is being advertised. They don't care about that because they've already made the sale that they do care about, which is selling the ad space.
Them back to the app too. A supposedly leaked document from a marketing presentation for
Supposedly leaked.
video games showed dozens of pages, plans, and methods to use AI and data collection on the target gamer to determine when they were more likely to buy in-game items. And
Citation needed. If this thing exists, why are you not showing it on screen?
aggressively market to them by displaying offers at those times. Audio
I believe this. I think I remember a story about it, but show an article on screen, reference a study, do the work. All of this footage that you have is just unrelated garbage.
Captured by the devices revealed to the AI the gender and mood of the player, and found that Wi-Fi signals could reveal their location, such as if the player is in the car or in their bedroom laying down. The AI would also pick up mouse movements and typing speed, revealing levels of engagement, determining how best to serve these ads to the individuals. All of this data is fed into the AI and analyzed by the marketing team to exploit human psychology for the sake of selling virtual goods. The presentation goes as far as using voice tone analysis to determine when players are slightly, moderately, and severely depressed, and then reduces the use of emotion-based advertisements and switches to logic-based advertisements, which were shown to be more effective.
That is true. People buying ads can pay whether it's seen or clicked or whatever. But honestly, once a company has engaged in buying in that manner, in buying an ad space, the ad is bought. You know, like it can't be like unbought, really. So as far as like the company is concerned that is selling the ad space is bought. You know, it's a numbers game. Someone will click on it eventually, and it will hit its number of clicks. That's frankly it. You know,
in a depression. You can imagine what other tactics they might.
Yeah, I need to put together the soundboard so I can press a button that just says, "It's capitalism, stupid!"
Using.
Save me a lot of breath.
With their ability to manipulate the game to influence your state once you purchase more from their store, well...
Pluvius, that's true. If he showed evidence, he would no longer be spirit science, and it would instead be regular science.
We weren't kidding when we said technology can be used to control us. Even if this presentation was fake, everything mentioned in it is well within the demonstrated power of AI today. And if it hasn't been integrated yet, you better believe that someone is working towards it. One singular and perhaps most critical questions we can ask ourselves in relationship to this new technology is, what is truth? How do we define and collectively agree on truth? Specifically, if we live in a world where no matter what you believe, you can always find support or evidence for the argument and perspectives that you hold.
Man, if that were true, you'd have a lot more evidence in your video, bud.
Want to believe the Earth is flat, round, or hollow? You can find ample evidence for all three. Are you left-wing?
Can you, though? Can you find ample evidence the world is hollow and flat? Can you? I don't think you can. I don't think you can, actually. I don't think you can. I challenge him to provide as much evidence for the Earth being hollow as for the Earth being round, or for the Earth being flat as for the Earth being round. Let's, you know, you can find just as much evidence of it being flat. Please present that to me. I would love to see the comparable amounts of evidence for it being flat versus it being round. I would love that. Please do so.
Right wing? Extreme center? It doesn't matter. On the internet, these ways of thinking are both the greatest and most logical and perfect way of thinking, and the most destructive way of thinking that is destroying our beautiful planet, all at the same time, depending on who you ask. Thus, the question of truth becomes a pertinent one. How do we, collectively as a species, find truth together? This is a question that we will revisit further down our path. Regarding the modern news and entertainment industry, we already know that the masses are manipulated daily to think and feel and respond in certain ways. And with the insights offered in the social dilemma, it seems as though our social media is also encouraging us to begin behaving in hive mind mentality. This
one might even say certain YouTube videos are convincing us or manipulating us to behave in culty ways.
Technology appears to cause us to stop becoming unique individuals and become just a cog in a massive machine. And this is where there's a pending issue with the integration of technology. What's to stop the AI from changing the nature of your being based on who's advertising to you in any given day on a deeper level than ever before? In the world today,
Yeah, you're so right, King. You know, I'm gonna really, next time I see the ad for those him candy bars from the Daily Wire, I'm really gonna crumple and change into a conservative. If I see ads for the him candy bars one more time, I'm gonna become a conservative. It's true.
as people have negative responses to news or events, this fuels more negativity around the issue. Not to mention, the news actively fuels more negative press and stories on a daily basis.
Why do they do that? Could it be because negative press, more sensationalist press, gets more clicks and more views, in which case it makes them more money? No, it must be a conspiracy about controlling us or something.
So that even if there's a lot of good in the world, the negative stories always seem to get more attention. Conspiratorially speaking, there is more and more evidence that shows that consciousness actively steers reality, that our focus and what we focus on dictates what kind of life we experience.
This isn't conspiratorial. This is just nonsense. Now, your outlook can have, like, your attitude towards life can certainly have an effect on how you go about and comport yourself in public and in your interactions with other people. For sure, 100%. Can it control your material reality as you make your way through your day? Not necessarily, no. But this is not a conspiracy. Pointing that out is not a conspiracy. Saying that, oh, well, actually, you can alter reality by, manipulating your reality field to make things just happen for you, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just not true. That's like saying the sun is actually a pink elephant. It's just not true.
People with hope for the world are driven to create things, but people who focus on all the negative stuff in their life generally have more anxiety around things that happen and become stuck in their own fear. The coronavirus pandemic was a great example of this, as we saw mass divisions from people wearing face masks and generally being scared of potentially spreading this thing, and those who just relaxed into the quarantine and said, all right, we're here, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to create some meaningful change, at least in my own life. And they did. If Facebook and Google are
I guess the only two groups during the pandemic
steering the mainstream narrative, then they ultimately have a massive influence in the direction that society goes. They could design their systems to create peace and prosperity in the world, but their core focus is profit, which is good for business. So why
because capitalism.
would they change their business model? This couldn't have been made more evident by a personal quote from Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, who actually said, "What's good for the world isn't necessarily what's good for Facebook."
True. Also, props to this guy for wearing a top hat in, I'm going to presume this is from 2023. Props to him for wearing a top hat despite not pulling it off whatsoever. It's a bold fashion choice, and I applaud him for sticking with it.
What's good for the world isn't necessarily what's good for Facebook.
Just
Yes,
missing the monocle.
He really
Yeah.
said that. And he owns one of the largest companies in the world, influencing the lives of billions. Even if humanity was connected digitally with all of this access to information, such as consciousness integration and all that, Unless you are actively looking to download and install books and wisdom into your mind, it's all too likely that the focus of our collective mind could be hijacked by advertisements, entertainment, or other things. The exact same as how we are constantly distracted by social media today, and this could even be used to steer our species in the direction of whoever or whatever was pulling the strings.
Man, I love how often he just kind of hand waves away who they are. You know, the entire video is talking about they are out to stop you. You know, they are out. They are putting together the forces aligned against you. They want to control your everyday existence. And then he's like, oh, whoever or whatever. You know, just we're just JQing through the whole thing, huh?
At this point, it almost appears as though this kind of technological integration is inevitable, and if you're conflicted about it, you're not alone. On the one hand, the ability to read every book you ever wanted to in days, or learn more about yourself and the universe in such a short time, or master Kung Fu, is very appealing. On the other hand, if your mind can be controlled or even forcefully steered in any direction by someone else, then is that really a paradigm that we want to be a part of? I imagine that there will be some big turning points for our species in the journey of development of this technology. But if we can learn to do this in an open source way that allows each and every individual their own sovereign right to freedom of thought and feeling, and actually choose what they share with the collective mind, well, I don't know. I'd be curious about the potential outcomes of this. The silver lining we have going into this is how the process mirrors what the internet of today brought us, good and bad. If we can learn from our mistakes and take that wisdom at a large scale into the new paradigm, we have hope. Even if its temptations still clutch the majority of people, a select few can guard the light and guide others into an enlightened cyberpunk reality.
I don't think this guy understands what cyberpunk is. When he combines the word enlightened with cyberpunk. I don't think he understands most of the words that are coming out of his face hole when he makes these. Cyberpunk is not about being enlightened, it's about being a complete and utter shithole of a future brought about by capitalism being unaddressed in society.
You can start practicing right now by being mindful of how your relationship with social media truly affects your life and the lives of those that it connects you with, and hopefully pass that wisdom on to future generations. If a great positive shift doesn't occur, we will forever be destined to repeat our mistakes on greater and greater scales until we finally do. As we've seen so far, humanity is undergoing an exponential increase in veils being lifted.
What?
And we are seeing life being stirred up and changed like never before. One analogy we might use here is as if humanity has been in the dark for so long, isolated by socioeconomic and cultural divides. And yet with modern technology, it would seem as though the lights are collectively turning on. But now, there is so much light, all at once, that it is blinding. And despite our access to so much information today, we are still just as blind as we ever were. That is, while we allow time for our eyes to adjust.
Oh my
Yet
god.
the root of revelation
Oh
doesn't
my god,
just
dude.
speak to veils lifted, but our own revelation from divine origin. Belief systems and ideologies are challenged in mass as new information comes out that asks us to reassess our paradigms of identity. As this happens,
You can tell this is stock footage because if a protester touched a SWAT officer's helmet, they'd be beaten to death.
us to reassess our paradigms of identity. As this happens, those who are willing to explore new ideas grow.
Yeah, apparently this used to be a 4-hour-long film that had to be cut down to an hour and 30 minutes.
And those who rail against anything new only burrow deeper into
I
their
know
own
this has felt
existing
like
paradigm.
an eternity to most of you, but
Even in the new world we are creating,
imagine
there are bound to
the original cut of this.
be different paradigms that people live within. We must remember that some people are filled with hate, negativity, and suffering, all of which are descending from their own pain, which inhibits their higher consciousness and keeps them rooted in a lower vibration. This does not mean that they are bad people, for the only true remedy is compassion. No matter how far disconnected from their soul someone may be, they can always come back to the light. However, the only way for this to take place is if they genuinely want to. For unless someone seeks their own salvation, they will never end up finding it. Thus, it doesn't matter if someone spends their time living in a VR reality for years, abuses their bodies, or even in some future reality travels throughout the universe. All paths through life can be taken, but only one path leads to the liberation of the soul. This is the path within. May this be a lesson for all of us too, for if we are afraid of the darkness within us and others, and we attempt to quell it by attacking it with anger and hate, then we lessen our own vibration and reduce ourselves to the same state of consciousness.
What does that mean? What does lessening your vibe mean? What does it mean? If I harsh my mellow enough, am I lowering my vibe?
As that which we are fighting against. Evil begets evil, and in the words of a wise Jedi Master, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Hence, the true solution to the salvation of humanity, or the reconnection of our souls as we discussed so long ago, is through genuine and authentic compassion. By elevating our own consciousness to such a degree that our light radiates to those around us, and we become instruments of sacred transformative change by the goodness that we embody.
Yeah, we learned at the very end that Jedi are real. It's all a massive conspiracy to keep them from reality.
And while this may sound to some like spiritual woo, the discoveries around this today have the power to radically change everything we think we know about both science and religion. These discoveries speak to a deeper, basic, and more intrinsic understanding about the nature of who we are and our place in the cosmos, as well as the abilities that we have and may inherit. Speaking to the nature of consciousness itself, these discoveries are so paradigm-shattering that life on Earth as we know it will never be the same once the knowledge becomes commonplace among the people of the Earth. That is, if it's ever allowed to get there. For a long time, our perception of spirituality has been—
Guys, there's 5 minutes of this left, but so help me, this is insufferable. I feel so much regret about even putting this on offer for you guys. It's hurting me. How is there 5 minutes left? I don't know.
governed by the religions of the world, and our perception of the universe and the nature of life has been governed by science. Movies like Zeitgeist outline and identify ways in which the religious institutions—
Yeah, this looks like a movie you should definitely trust to tell you the truth about the world. Just look at that cover. And I know they tell you not to judge a book by its cover or a movie by its sleeve, but I think you should judge this one a little bit, maybe.
have monopolized people in a myriad of ways, while others today, such as Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's The Science Delusion, demonstrates how—
I think maybe this one you should also perhaps judge by its cover. Not not gonna really point to anything aesthetic about this that I don't trust, other than the garish shade of green, but also the fact that it's endorsed by the author of The Rise and Fall of Modern Medicine. Maybe the book about how you shouldn't trust modern medicine doesn't have the best endorsements. I'm just throwing that idea out there, okay?
Science has been used to shepherd people into a mindset, keeping us locked into a paradigm of physicality and nothing more. Further, these two
Is the science delusion trying to react to the God delusion? Yes.
voices of science and religion have been at odds for a very long time, sharply criticizing one another, or otherwise outright refusing to acknowledge each different perspective, or their many merits and wisdoms that they bring forth. Despite this, today new revelations about the nature of consciousness stand to shatter the illusion of separateness, destroy the dogma we've clung to for so long, and give us a foundational blueprint to create a new world for ourselves. Truly, it's how we can create heaven on earth. All that's required is our complete participation. One example of this is found in the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton with The Biology of Belief, which explains with profound scientific logic that our beliefs and self-identity are a product of our environment, and that as we think it, so shall we become. His work
Look, you should work to develop a sense of confidence in yourself, a sense of like assuredness in yourself. You should work to foster that type of a worldview where you can forgive yourself, where you can love yourself, where like you can try and fail and it's not the end of the world. You know, you should be able to cultivate that in yourself. But this thinking makes it so bullshit that he's trying to sell you. It's not about improving yourself. It's about like giving yourself superpowers, like flying. Yeah, you just believe it really hard. Believe it really hard. Think really hard. You can levitate. That's what he's trying to sell you, for real. He has videos about that on his channel.
describes that if we spend our lives believing that my family had a hereditary disease, so I'll get it too, you are consciously and subconsciously programming your body with signals that will facilitate you creating that outcome. And of course, this belief and others can come from our parents and family or the environments that we expose ourselves to. When we look at all of our childhood programming together, we find today a mashup of countless different media programs and entertainment, news stories, passed down rhetoric and ideas that we received from friends and others around us.
When Spirit Science watches TV, he just watches blank static like what's on the TV right here.
Who we are today was shaped
God.
by the world, and while many of the lessons that we received growing up were good and valid, many others were simply long-held beliefs that have been passed down for generations, yet may not hold our highest interest at heart. These beliefs shaped our perspective of the world, and in that, how we behave and act, which leads us to create our destinies. As it would seem, many of the belief systems we hold on to disempower ourselves from being able to live our lives to the fullest. Further, many of the largest industries today are built upon previous paradigms, and so their continued growth means the limiting of this new understanding. For example, we return here to the pharmaceutical industry. If you help someone cure their depression, it's very difficult to justify charging them thousands of dollars a year for a prescription.
That's not how much money it costs for a prescription for antidepressants. Source, I was on antidepressants for 2 years. My antidepressants probably cost like $20 all told. Like maybe $20 a year. It wasn't a big scam. I'm trying to put it. I'm trying to put out the idea. It wasn't actually a big scam. pharmaceutical companies are horrible, opportunistic, and like terrible in a myriad of ways, but like for widespread medication like estrogen or antidepressants or basic painkillers, they're fine. They're fine.
It is far easier and much more lucrative that their depression or illness will be with them for a very long, long time. We must understand that the environment has played a very significant role in the creation of our collective reality, even from the moment that we were conceived and all of the experience that we've had since birth. And while birth defects do exist, Bruce's research says that 95% of people have perfectly fine
no
DNA
idea,
and can
Thought
change
Knight.
how their genes are expressing
Probably.
themselves if they will it so. For some, this may be easier than it is for others.
Yeah, I know Marcia, I know we have like 80-ish people in YouTube chat right now. I don't know why people are being so shy. Probably listening in. I don't know.
But it's very empowering research nonetheless. If we can change the signals our bodies are receiving, the thoughts and feelings we tell ourselves and receive from others, the places we live, the music we listen to, the food that we eat, the entertainment we watch, all of these aspects will play a role in reshaping our lives by influencing us from surface to very deep levels. As Bruce's work suggests, it doesn't matter what ails you. If you can address the root cause and provide yourself with a stimulus of a higher vibration, there is nothing that you cannot heal.
Uh-huh, okay. Yeah, you just gotta get your crystals right, and then your chakras will heal you. Yeah, watch the complete 4-hour movie using the link below. I can't imagine finishing this and being done with this hour and 90-minute long version and then feeling compelled to watch another 2.5 hours of this. Why on earth would anyone do that? This wasn't even like good as a watch from a 90-minute perspective. How would 2.5 more hours help the final product? How would you be a human at the end of that? You simply wouldn't. You would have ascended to a higher state of being, I'm sure.